Hey everybody, I'm Team 10 investigator Adam Rakusin. It is, a little after 5:30 tonight. Thanks for joining us on this Facebook Live. So we've been talking to you a lot today about gun laws, in particular, one behind me. A new bill aims to correct an error that allowed the Poway suspect to buy a gun. This new bill, this legislation, this was broke by my colleague right here, John Hort. He's been up since 5 this morning talking about this.
That's when I got here.
That's when you got here. Okay, so a little bit of time today. So you're responsible a lot in your reporting for this legislation coming to light. So let's talk about what is this legislation that was introduced today?
So on the surface, Adam, it's actually quite simple. You think about the age limit in California. It's 21 unless you are one of three things: military, law enforcement, or you have a valid state-issued hunting license. Then the age limit is 18. So the question is, if you have that hunting license, who checks it? Well, as it stands, it's up to the gun shop, and that's it. This bill will require the Justice Department, which approves the sale anyway, to take the time to contact State Fish and Wildlife and make sure that that hunting license is valid before green-lighting the sale. And what we've uncovered is that the Poway Synagogue suspect, John Ernest, did not have that valid license, but it never went checked. The gun shop said, okay, and he got the gun, and allegedly the rest is history.
So essentially, this bill is going to force some California agencies to start talking to each other to verify a little bit further down the line. Okay, so we know the end product of it now. Let's walk back on how you got here in the first place. How'd you discover this?
Well, this kind of was a long process of trying to get the right person on the phone. It started at a press conference with Governor Newsom in San Diego on a Friday, and a reporter in the room asked him, well, if the synagogue shooting suspect got a assault rifle, an AR-15 with a hunting license, are you going to do something about that? And Governor Newsom stepped to the mic, and then I remember State Senator Tony Atkins came and said that's being addressed with some legislation, but gave no further details. Now I had one of two options there. We could have just reported that and moved on, or we could have asked more questions, and that's what I did. Instead of reporting it on that Friday, I actually spent the weekend trying to track down what exactly she meant by that. And so Senator Atkins, as spokesperson, put me in touch with different people until I got to Senator Anthony Portantino. And I'll never forget this. At 5 o'clock on a Monday, he finally called me, and I made some comment that said, all the media has reported that he was able to get the gun with a hunting license. And Senator Portantino kind of bristled, and he said, he didn't have a valid license. And I was like, what? Are you kidding me? And then he said, yeah, I've confirmed that with Fish and Wildlife and the Department of Justice. He didn't have a valid license. And that basically became our breaking news lead for the day. An hour later, we just had to throw everything together. And then I said, well, then how did he get the gun? And Senator Portantino said, I don't know, you should investigate. So I said, okay. And then I started asking questions. And by that Friday, I realized that the Justice Department does not verify hunting licenses with State Fish and Wildlife in these gun sales, and that is what led to where we are right now.
So you came to that, but if I remember right, this was back in August, around that time that all of this was going on. We're in February now. So what happened in those months in between? Were you in touch with the lawmaker? Were you guys talking about this? What happened?
So basically the way it was working was the legislative session was ending about a little bit after that happened. So I was told by him that he was going to look into it at the next legislative session, which is right now, and which is what he introduced today. That being said, I spent a lot of time trying to get an answer out of the Department of Justice. I could not get them to, beyond a one sheet that explained the process, they never would address the discrepancy. Why don't they check it? I could never get that answer. I did 2 public records requests with the Department of Justice. They were denied by both. I've not been able to get any official comment on this from a state agency or the district attorney, so it was just a lot of questioning until finally the new legislative session started, and I was able to recontact him and say, are you going to do this? And the answer is yes.
Now, your work is instrumental in getting this. I don't have the quote up here. It's probably a little bit in your story, but if you can remember it, what did the lawmaker tell you? Why was the reporting in this so pivotal?
Well, it was really a gracious moment on his part, because I said to him in an interview last Thursday that when you told me that the hunting license was invalid and I asked you why, you said investigate. And I did, and then I contacted you back and said what I found, and I asked him, did that have something to do with this? And he said, yes. I mean, people wonder what role the media plays, but he said, I asked the right questions, and I found the right evidence, and it enabled him to go and figure out what could be done about this. And he was very gracious and said, these questions, this process, what we've brought to his attention is helping to make California a safer place.
And that's what we're here to do. They asked the questions. So you've been up since 6.
Yes.
You were in the 6 a.m. show. You've been in the 4 p.m., the 5 p.m. You're going to have another story on at 6 p.m. in a couple minutes here. What are you reporting at 6?
Oh, first off, don't forget the 11 a.m.
The 11 a.m., sorry,
Yeah,
I missed
okay,
one.
That's all right. We're going to basically tie this all together. We're going to talk about what led to this, what we uncovered, and what's next. Also, the hunting license exemption has been eliminated for those center fire semi-automatic weapons. But there's a lot you can still buy with that if you are under 21. We're going to look at some of those weapons and the role they play, and also we're going to play for you some of what he said that kind of ties this all together from his end and the role that we played. So we'll have a lot more at 6 o'clock than we have in the last couple of shows. We'll have that time to kind of air it out a little bit more.
So great reporting here from John Horn. You hit it. You can see it online right here. He's going to be on at 6 o'clock again tonight. Also, if you head over to our Facebook page, which you're watching on right now, you can see our Facebook Lives from earlier today. So you can see John talk to one side. You can see me interview the other side. So you get perspective on this. So head to 10news.com or watch us at 6. John, you've great job on this. Congratulations on getting this legislation moving forward through the lawmaker. So thanks for joining us on Facebook Live. I'm Adam Rakusin. I've been up almost as long as you. Have a good night.